All right, today we've got an absolutely incredible true story for you, one about resilience, about determination. This is the story of Karoly Takacs, the man with the only hand.
But before we get into it, I want to ask you something, and seriously, take a second to think about it. If the one thing you dedicated your entire life to was suddenly, violently ripped away from you, what would you do? Just hold on to that thought. Okay, let's get right into it. Our story starts back in Hungary in the late 1930s, and it's about a man with one single, all-consuming dream.
So meet Karoly Takacs. By 1938, this guy was a living legend. He was the top pistol shooter in the entire Hungarian army. He'd won every single national championship there was to win. Everyone knew he was a shoo-in for the gold medal at the 1940 Olympics. His whole life revolved around one mission, to make his right hand the absolute best shooting hand on the face of the earth. And you know what? He'd done it.
He was at the absolute top of his game. His dream was right there, totally within his grasp. And then, in a flash, everything, and I mean everything, changed.
He was at a routine army training exercise when the unsinkable happened. A hand grenade, a defective one, exploded right in his shooting hand.
And just like that, it was gone. The hand he'd spent years, thousands of hours perfecting, the hand that was going to win him Olympic gold, was destroyed. His dream, his career, his future, it looked like it was all over.
So after spending a month in the hospital just grappling with this life-shattering loss, Karoly found himself at a fork in the road. He had a choice to make, and it was a choice that would define the entire rest of his life.
And this is where his mindset just becomes incredible. See, he could have spent the rest of his days mourning what was gone, and nobody would have blamed him. But Karoly did something different. He decided to stop focusing on what he'd lost and to focus only on what he had left. Sure, his dream hand was gone, but his determination wasn't. His best hand was gone, but he still had his other hand, a left hand, by the way, that he was so unused to he couldn't even write his own name with it. Get this. Just 1 month out of the hospital, he makes his decision. He picks up his pistol with his left hand, and in total secret, he starts all over again, from square one. Now fast forward 1 year. I want you to picture the scene. It's 1939, it's the Hungarian National Championship, and a very familiar face walks through the door. It's Karoly Takacs. His old competitors, they're stunned to see him there. They all rush over, to shake his good hand and tell him how brave he is, how wonderful it is that he came to watch them, to cheer them on after everything he'd been through. But Karoly just calmly stops them and says, "I didn't come here to cheer you on. I came here to compete with you." Can you just imagine the silence in that room? He wasn't there as a spectator. He was there as a competitor. And this really puts the whole thing in perspective. Every other shooter in that room was competing with their best hand, the one they trained with their entire lives. Karoly was competing with his only hand. And what happened? He won. He won the whole thing. Winning the national championship was already a comeback for the ages. But his real dream, that Olympic gold, was still out there. And unfortunately, the universe wasn't quite done testing him yet. His perseverance was about to be pushed to the absolute limit. His first chance at the Olympics in 1940? Canceled. World War II. The next chance in 1944? Canceled again. He had to wait a full decade. By the time the 1948 London Olympics came around, Karoly was 38 years old, competing against guys much younger, all in their prime. And what did he do? He didn't just compete. He won. He won the Olympic gold medal. But he wasn't finished. 4 years later, at the 1952 Olympics in Helsinki, he did it again. A second gold medal. I mean, let that sink in. The man with his only hand didn't just achieve his old dream. He completely surpassed it. He became the first shooter in the history of the sport to win 2 consecutive gold medals in his event, something that no one, not a single person with 2 perfectly good hands, had ever done before. So what can we pull from a story this incredible? Well, it really all boils down to a fundamental difference in how you see the world. It's funny. People who fail often have a laundry list of excuses for why they couldn't do it. But a winner like Karoly, who had every excuse in the world to just quit, only needed one single, powerful reason why he had to succeed. And that one reason was stronger than all the excuses combined. And that brings us right back to that first question.
Karoly lost his best hand, but he achieved something legendary with his only hand. So the question for you is this: what is your only hand? What tool, what skill, what part of you remains even after a setback? And what could you achieve if you stopped focusing on what's gone and gave that one thing your absolute undivided focus?